Most people don't answer unknown numbers, but sometimes your intuition just like tells you like, yeah, you should probably pick this up. And I picked it up and it was a gentleman representing Target.
As someone who didn't grow up understanding the importance of sunscreen, I was really excited to talk to Shantae Lundy, the founder and CEO of Black Girl Sunscreen.
We have changed the mindset around sun safety. Does it continue to be a challenge? Yes, absolutely, because we're changing behaviors. You know, in some people's minds, it's like we're stripping the superpower of Black people away. Our melanin protects us from the sun. Sunscreen is a preventative measure for many different things, whether it's hyperpigmentation, premature aging, and of course, later on down the road, melanoma. That's what we really focus on.
Hello everyone, I'm Hallease, a digital storyteller and video producer, and welcome to episode 1 of Convos with CEOs, where we take a peek behind the shelved veil to see what it takes to get a product in a store like Target. For this first episode, I really wanted to focus on finding funding and let Shantae tell you her story with Black Girl Sunscreen. Did you end up finding venture capital for Black Girl Sunscreen, or did you figure out a way to get it going on your own?
So a venture capitalist is a little bit later on. And it's so many different levels to this question. Shantae started Black Girl Sunscreen with her savings from being in corporate America. I started the business with about $35,000, right? That was my initial investment. It got me quite a bit of product, but then I had to constantly reinvest my money and then prioritize my spending because we didn't raise capital. We raised capital just last year in 2020. During the pandemic. The process is different for everyone though. I made a vow to myself and to the company that I would put myself in environments that I wasn't currently in. So if we're going to raise capital, then I need to be in the room with whoever it is, high net worth individuals, VCs, or people that can make those connections. And that's what I did. I started applying for different grants. I started going to different events that had those type of people. I started participating in pitch competitions to get the practice to speak about the business in a way that I hadn't before, right? To understand what type of questions would be asked of Black Girl Sunscreen and being comfortable sharing financials and being able to give the support that's needed without giving so much information. My first pitch competition was, I was living in Miami, flew to Los Angeles. I guess I bombed it because I didn't win the money. And that was probably the most discouraging, I would say, not pitch, but situation, because I let 3 people make me feel as if Black Girl Sunscreen wasn't going to work. Oh, you know, it's not this, it's not that, it's not this. So yeah, we'll pass. But I had to quickly realize that that's 3 people out of this entire world. Like, not everyone is going to jive with what you got going on. And you only have 3 minutes. And 3 minutes to get out like what your company does is very quickly, but you got to be really precise. And we excelled. And then from there, we were introduced to another group, another community, right? So I did another pitch competition. And after that pitch competition, the high net worth individuals and investors started to roll in. Hey, we saw you here. Hey, we want to have a conversation. Now, the thing is, there's only but so much time, so you can't talk to everyone. So it's kind of like, how do you vet who's going to align best with your personality and your organization? So my process took probably about 4 months to get the contract signed. I would do it differently now, though.
Oh, really? What would you change?
Yeah, I think that sometimes companies and even, Black female founders don't understand their worth, and they don't necessarily know what they bring to the table. And sometimes when you're raising capital, your back might be against the wall and you need the funding. So it's kind of just like, okay, I'm going to take what I can get. But if you plan it out, then it's not about taking what you can get. It's taking it's okay, this person aligns or this group aligns we have similar goals. They're going to work best with me. And they are bringing these things to the table, things that I need, whether it's building top talent, whether it's understanding supply chain. I'm going to select this partner for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do differently. I don't think I would rush the process.
Yeah. I know for me, something I still struggle with too is like having that scarcity mindset versus thinking abundantly and kind of waiting for the right partnerships, connections, collaborations to not necessarily come to you, but you're taking the steps to find them and building that bridge out and hopefully seeing who will build the bridge and meet you halfway. For sure. At what stage did you start to factor in an accountant full-time, or at least, a contracting accountant that works with your company specifically, and an attorney?
Oh, good question. So the accountant came before legal. So accountant is by far one of the most important pieces of the business. Although they are hiding in the closet, typing away on their spreadsheets, you got to have buttoned up financials to, first of all, raise capital. Second of all, understand if you can even have a retail partnership, right? And then it guides you on how to run the business because they're pumping out, profit and loss statements, balance sheets, forecasts. And if you don't have that, it's kind of like you're going through your business blindfolded. So that was within year one. Legal came, I would say year 2.5, 3. And I love saying, okay, well, we'll just toss it to legal. I love it because it shows like the seriousness of it. And then we want things to be done the right way.
Yeah.
Whether it's contractual, whether it's just how to handle something. I don't think legal is necessary right away. Like it's not necessary within the first year. Accounting is.
What would you say are some of the things that you wish you had known coming into this business specifically? I'm not sure if you've had businesses in the past, but this business specifically, what do you wish you had known coming into it?
Nothing. Because the mistakes that we're making now helps us grow. Make a mistake once, hopefully you don't make the same mistake twice, right? So, being on this entrepreneurial journey sometimes can be lonely and you feel like you're walking in the dark. There's no blueprint. So I don't want to come in here knowing all the answers. However, I do like having the experience of different things that are impactful. So whether it's communicating with different types of people, motivating them to be their best, understanding who our community is and how to grow that. So those are the experience that I like having and knowing. But if I don't know it, I'll learn it.
Yeah.
And if we make the mistake, it's okay because the mistake can typically be fixed.
Can you tell me a little bit about when you first found out that Black Girl Sunscreen was going to be in Target?
I remember it like it was just yesterday. I was in Montreal shooting a commercial, and I got a call. And typically, most people don't answer unknown numbers, but sometimes your intuition just like tells you like, yeah, I should probably pick this up. And I picked it up, and it was a gentleman representing Target. Hey, I'm calling from Target. We are trying to do a story on sun safety, and we want to see, if Black Girl Sunscreen will resonate with the community. Do you think you're ready for something like that? And I put it on mute, and that's when you have one of those like, oh my God, my crush just saw me in the hallway, and he noticed my hair, and he looked at me in the eyes, or whoever your crush is, right? It's like one of those moments where you just kind of scream. And I legit put the phone on mute and screamed because corporate partnerships they give validation to brands. The corporate validation for growing businesses is a real thing. Consumers still think if you're not on the shelves of some retail store, then you are, making your product in the kitchen or in the bathroom. And that may very well be the case. but you're like not legitimate in their mind. But then as soon as you appear on any retailer stores, it's like, oh, okay, this is a real company. That was the first interaction with Black Girl Sunscreen in Target. It was very memorable because they told me that, listen, they searched literally every keyword and it just kept coming up, reoccurring, Black Girl Sunscreen, Black Girl Sunscreen. And that meant to me that we were doing a good job with our brand presence. And I encourage, other brand founders or just, women on this journey, men on this journey, that you have to make noise in whatever space that you're doing, because if you don't, then you don't exist. So how do you bring the attention to yourself? And Black Girl Sunscreen, some of the things that we were doing were, participating in local events, a lot of word of mouth, jumping on radio stations, anything social. We didn't have that many followers, but even if you have 5, 10, 15,000 followers, if you're, pushing, your product free to people that may take a picture or may just talk about it, that's the best marketing out there yet to date, because it is word of mouth. So those were some of the things that we were doing very early on to bring the awareness, not necessarily for a retailer to pick us up, but just to talk about sun safety, the lack of the education and the conversation within the community. There's been some sentiment out there that like, oh, Black girls are just trending, but we don't have to be trending if we bring each other along. Right? Because once the attention goes off of one business, it just goes on to the next, or from one creator to the next. So if we're holding hands and we're truly holding hands and it's not fluff, then we're just going to continue to rise. And that's why these conversations are so, so, so important. And I'm excited to see, who else you have on your series, because now you're going to be able to talk to so many Black CEOs just with this opportunity, right? But then it is more than just having the one conversation. How do you stay connected, right? Whether it's through socials or whether it's kind of like, hey, let's do a live, or let's just keep this momentum going. You don't have to be besties, but just have that working professional relationship, I think, is more important than anything.
Are you available for mentorship? Somebody asked that in the comments.
Yeah, we get that pretty often. Yes. And the reason why I say yes very quickly without a fee, by the way, is that when I was coming up, I didn't feel comfortable or have anyone that I could reach out to as a soundboard. So Shantae does offer 20-minute sessions, and you can send an email to contact@blackgirlsunscreen.com to jump on my calendar. What's also really cool is we have a professional team that are experts in their field. And if you want to talk to someone within the marketing department or the finance department, they're available to share their resources as well and their knowledge.
Thank you so much for watching this video and sticking around. In the description box below, I've included a few extra links that I think would be considered continued learning for this interview. The first is a list of business grants, one of which I actually used last year for my production company, StumbleWell, so check that out. The second is a link to the New Voices newsletter, which is an organization that helps women of color find venture capital funding. I'm actually subscribed to the newsletter already, and they give so much information and opportunities in there. Really check it out. And the third thing is a link to Target's Accelerators program, where entrepreneurs and startups can learn the ins and outs of retail and work with Target executives. Innovation is part of Target's DNA as they continue to recognize teamwork, community, and courage to challenge the status quo. In the comments below, let me know if anything resonated with you from Shantae. We have 2 more videos in this series, so if you're new here, consider subscribing. Again, I'm Hallease, and I'll see you when I see you.